So, I don't even know what the fuck to say, I'm not gonna lie. I'm sorry. That's not right. I've been a piece of shit. I've been lazy. I've been telling myself, oh, I'll record tomorrow, I'll record on the weekend, I'll do this, I'll do that. I've been making excuses, and I'm honestly sorry. How the fuck? Okay. Well, God, it's been so fucking long. It's been 2, maybe 3 months? 3 months, I want to say? I don't know. All I know is I haven't recorded in a while, and I'm still getting back to being used to this. And I need to be better because I want to make a good video for you guys. And I think this will be a good one. I think it'll be better. Because honestly, I just listen to in my videos. Like, I mean, I listened to the first part of this video just to remember what the fuck I did because it's been that long. And damn, I'm awful at this shit, man. I don't know how you guys like this shit, but you do. And yeah, but after all I said, yeah, I'm back, you know, your favorite whatever. I know. Thank God, am I right? But that doesn't really matter too much. I know why you all are here. You're not here to hear me talk too much on a tangent. You're here to hear me make a what if. But I will go on one little tangent. Bro, did y'all know that, like, people do what ifs with, like, audio readers now? Bro, like, what? I did not know that, man. I started watching what ifs again, and people do that shit, bro. And there's a lot of channels, and they got good what ifs, man. I enjoy those videos. They're great. And then, oh, there's this one fucking YouTuber, and, like, I can't tell if his voice is a fucking auto reader or if he's just, like, amazing at fucking reading, because this guy, like, his voice is A1. I can't even lie. Like, how do I compete with niggas like that? But yeah, that was my tangent for the day. But yeah, who knows? Maybe I'm gonna be one of them. Huh? How do you feel? Do you guys want me to just no longer use my voice? I can't even say that. Alright. But yeah, it's crazy. I just never knew that. Maybe it's been a common thing. Maybe people have been doing it for as long as I've been making videos, and it was just never on my recommended. But now it's the only thing on my recommended, and it's crazy. But yeah. So this is part 2 of the movie of What If Naruto was the reincarnation of Kokushibo. Alright, last time I did this, I would constantly go silent for a sec to try to read what his fucking moves are called and what he does. I'm not gonna lie, that shit sucks, alright? So I'm not gonna do that. There are 100 fucking different forms that Kokushibo has, and he only shows like 13 of them bitches. And like, even then he skips through a few of them, I'm pretty sure. Like, he doesn't show like a few of them, I don't know. But yeah, I'm not gonna go on tangents to like read specific moves. I'm just gonna say he does shit, and whether he can or cannot do that shit. Guess what? It's Naruto. It's not Kokushibo, even though they're reincarnated. Yeah. So we pick off this story at the end of the 3-year time skip. We have a very, very, very scared and upset Sanin walking into Konoha. You're probably wondering, who is this Sanin? There's only 3 of them. Who could it be? Well, it's probably not Tsunade. And Orochimaru is too busy pedoing on Sasuke right now to feel any of these emotions. So it has to be our favorite pervert. No, let me take that back. Our favorite super pervert. There we go. But yeah, it's our boy, Jiraiya, and you're wondering, why is Jiraiya so upset? Why is Jiraiya scared, for one? You're gonna find out. So, Jiraiya, he's walking into the village, he's slouched down, upset. You know, the guards, they see him, obviously, they fucking recognize one of the legendary Sannin, and they're like, Lord Jiraiya, and, you know, yada yada yada, Toad Sage, all that, and, you know, Jiraiya usually would do a big, Jiraiya the Sannin, like, entrance, but he knows that he's about to die, so he won't do it, and they're like, what's up with that, you know, one of them's like, I don't know, probably gonna be interesting though. Like, yeah. So Jiraiya, instead of having fun at the women's hot springs or anything like that, he goes straight to the Hokage's office and he knocks on the door. And, you know, Lord Hokage will see you, you know, and stuff like that. So he knocks on the Hokage office door, and Tsunade is just like, come in, come on, and, you know, god damn. But I know you guys missed that part of my what if, to hear my siblings scream out. That sounded wrong, oh god, okay. But so Jiraiya walks in and he sees Tsunade and Sarutobi sitting on the couch. You know, he's smoking his pipe. He looks at like a piece of paper too, but he's not the Hokage now. He doesn't bother himself with that bullshit anymore. So, you know, Tsunade's buried in paperwork, and, you know, she's just like, oh, shit, Jiraiya. Hey, welcome back to the village, you know. Sarutobi also looks up from his piece of paper and he's like, Jiraiya, got any more books for me? And, you know, they both stop after seeing Jiraiya's face and they're like, Jiraiya, what happened? And, you know, Jiraiya's like, okay, well, you see, how do I say this without getting my ass beat into the ground? Alright, I'm just gonna rip the band-aid off. I lost Naruto. You know, obviously Sarutobi and Tsunade both yell, what? After that, you know, Jiraiya's like, I know, but like a year and a half in, me and Jesus name, bro. A year and a half in, me and Naruto were talking. Naruto was arguing about how I peep more than I train him. I was telling him about how he's dumb and how he's a student, you know, he doesn't know the ways of the sensei. After that, I woke up the next day, my wallet was gone, the Toad contract was also gone, and Naruto was gone. And, you know, do you know how much paperwork this is gonna be? Do you know how much the council is gonna be on my ass? Do you know how worried I am right now? You know, Jiraiya looks at Tsunade and he's like, well, I'm sorry? You know, she's about to get up and beat the hell out of, you know, Jiraiya. And then Sarutobi, he's like, wait. Jiraiya, you have a spy network. Are you telling me that after you used your spy network, you still could not find Naruto? And, you know, he scratches the back of his head. He's like, well, the kid's pretty damn elusive. And, you know, Jiraiya, you know, Sarutobi's like, what do you mean? And Jiraiya's just like, well, shadow clones. And, you know, Sarutobi's like, shadow clones? And then Jiraiya's like, shadow clones. So, after that, you know, Jiraiya basically explains that every time he thinks he has a trail on Naruto, it's either him and he uses a bunch of shadow clones to get away and he has a hard time sensing which one's the real one, or the one that he finds is just a shadow clone that's been walking around. And, you know, Tsunade's like, oh my god, Jiraiya, And, she's like, where do you at least, like, think he'd go? And, Jiraiya's like, I really don't know. Like, this kid's lived in the village his whole life. Where is he gonna go? Who does he know outside of... And Sarutobi interrupts him, and he's like, oh my god, I know where he went. And, Jiraiya's confused, and he's like, what do you mean? And then Sarutobi says, Naruto never really was a conventional ninja. In fact, he has more of the tendencies of the samurai. And Jiraiya, it hits him like a ton of bricks. Jiraiya's like, oh my god. Oh, fuck. He's in the land of iron. He's in the land of iron. Sarutobi explains that he probably went over there to meet with Mifune. And yes, I fucking remembered his name this time. Let's fucking go. He's like, he probably went over there with Mifune because he felt like he would get better training over there than, well, from you. He's like, I'm one of the legendary Sannin. I am a sage. I could totally teach him shit. Sarutobi reminds him, Jiraiya, Naruto primarily uses a sword. You don't use a sword. Naruto relies on his own power. You tend to try to teach him how to rely on the Kyuubi's power. And, Jiraiya's like, I thought that I was supposed to train him in that way on how to use that. And he's like, the only thing I really even got to teach the kid was to use the damn Rasengan, and he just found a weird way to put it on the edge of his sword. Sarutobi said he what? And Jiraiya's like, I'll explain it later, but what are we gonna tell Karin? And right as he says that, a certain redhead walks into the room, and she says, oh, tell me what? And Tsunade says, Karin, what did I tell you about walking in without knocking? And, Karin's like, well, I mean, I am your student, so it does kind of make sense that I'd get to walk in freely, I guess. And, basically, Tsunade, she sighs, and she, rubs the bridge of her nose, and she's like, Karin, you might want to sit down for this. Obviously, Karin's like, okay, she sits down, and then she notices that Jiraiya's there. And then she's like, oh, Jiraiya. And she's like, wait, where's Naruto? Did Naruto go to the house? Oh, he probably went to the house, yeah. And then Tsunade is like, well, Karin, Jiraiya lost Naruto. Jiraiya's like, you didn't have to put it so damn bluntly. Right as, he's saying that, a chakra chain pops out of the ground, wraps around his neck, and slams him to the ground. And, Jiraiya's on the ground, and he's like, I could swear I recognize this from somewhere. But where the fuck do I recognize this? He's rubbing it. Like, he's like, in his mind, rubbing his chin, and then he thinks, and then he remembers. But before he can finish that train of thought, a red-haired habanero grabs him by his collar and pulls him up. And she says, you did what? Obviously, Jiraiya is shitting bricks. He is horrified. He knows this. He knows the rage of a female Uzumaki, and he doesn't know it in a good way, god damn it. But, yeah, he realizes he fucked up. And, Jiraiya's like, listen, he ran away. What else was I supposed to do? And she says, you're a legendary Sannin. You can't hunt a... Is he I think, did I make him a Chunin? I think I made him a Chunin. You can't hunt a Chunin? Jiraiya's like, we both know he's higher than the Chunin rank. He's like a high Chunin. She's like, you can't hunt a high Chunin. And he's like, with his chakra reserves, he's at least like maybe low Jonin, probably, maybe, hopefully. And I don't really have spies in the Land of Iron. It's neutral. And you know, she's like, wait, Land of Iron? You know, Saratobi tells her that Naruto's probably training with the samurai as we speak. And you know, she's angry. And, you know, obviously she yells to the heavens, "God damn it, Naruto!" And, you know, right as that happens, we cut to a tall, probably, man, Naruto would be pretty fucking tall. I'll say a man who is probably a little bit shorter than Jiraiya currently is. You know, he's walking around and he just gets a chill down his spine. He's like, oh. What the? I feel a great disturbance in the force. And you know, as that happens, we cut back to the Hokage's office as, you know, two people walk into the Hokage's office as well. And you know, Tsunade's like, oh, just walk fucking in. I'm not the Hokage. Don't show me respect. Please, I beg you. And, you know, it's obviously Shikamaru and Tamari. And you know, Shikamaru's like, common courtesy is troublesome. And you know, Tamari's like, everything's fucking troublesome to you. So, you know, she comes over and she's talking, and then right as that happens, a hawk flies in through the window and basically tells, you know, Tsunade the Kaze Kage has been attacked and his older brother has been poisoned. So obviously, since Sakura has just been fangirling over the years, she's pretty much stayed a Genin. Yeah, I know, fucking sad. But you know, she hasn't been completely useless. Karin did make sure that she got some training, so she does have super strength, but it's just like, she was never prepared for the Genin or the Chunin exams, so she'll probably participate this year and win. But basically, Tsunade's like, alright, Karin, I need a team of you, Kakashi, and who the fuck else would I add? Would I add Sai? You know, Karin's not really in a team. Sakura's not gonna be useful for this. So, Team Guy. So, you, Kakashi, and Team Guy going to Sand and helping out to retrieve the Kaze Kage. You know, so obviously, they all say, you know, yes, Lord Hokage-sama. And, you know, Tamari's like, I have to go too, that's my brother. You know, basically, Karin's like, oh, well, that ruins you two's date. And, you know, she walks out. You know, obviously, Tamari and Shikamaru are blushing up a storm, because, you know, teenagers. After that, Jiraiya, he's like, what do you need me to do? She's like, you need to find Naruto and get him back to the goddamn village. Go to a Land of Iron if you have to. Find him and drag him by the sheath of his damn sword if you have to. You know, he's like, but he's probably getting good training, you know. But Tsunade also reminds him, did you forget that an assassin organization is after his head? Oh shit, I'll be back. Fuck me. Okay, I'm back. So, you know, she's like, did you forget an assassin organization is after his head? You know, not Kakashi, god damn, I was doing so good too. Jiraiya, you know, he sits, he thinks for a second, he's like, yeah, that seems right. So after that, you know, he's like, alright, I'll head to the Land of Iron, see if I can find him. I'll send you a tow message if I do find him. If you guys somehow find him, you can always send a slug. So yeah, I'll see y'all. You know, he heads out. After that, the Sand, not the sand siblings, because it's just Tamari, but Tamari heads out with Karin, Team Guy, and Kakashi. So they're jumping along the way. They run into Itachi and Kisame, but they're in their bodies and stuff. Everyone there basically knows how to dispel genjutsu, so they're all pretty much fine. They take care of the fake clone bodies stuff. So after they take care of that, they head further, and then they see that there was a fight along this way. And it's a land of sand, and they see that the place is kind of beat up and covered in more sand than usual. They tell the team that their Lord Gaara, the Kazekage, was fighting two Akatsuki members, Deidara and Sasori, of the sand. And obviously they're like, alright. So they were fighting the two, and then Gaara? Who the fuck is Gaara? Gaara protected them from a massive bomb. And after that, they headed out together. Well, they headed out because Gaara passed out. Once, they got Gaara and they headed off, they were like, which way did they go? And, Karin's like, where's Kankuro? So after they find Kankuro, she heals him, and then, the old lady, I forgot her fucking name, shit. The old lady, what's her name? It's on the tip of my tongue. Who fucking cares? The old lady, if you know her, you know her. She's like, Hatake, or not Hatake, she's like White Fang, and she tries to kick his ass. Basically, Guy and, well, not Guy, but Lee and Neji, they both stop her, and Lee is basically like White Fang, I'm gonna say Karin, because she seems like the type to read. She knows who the White Fang is. And, she's like, hey, old hag, White Fang's dead. I don't know if you know this, but he died a long time ago. So that can't be the White Fang. That's just his son. The lady's like, of course I knew that. I'm not that old, Everyone sweat drops from hearing this, but, it's fine. After that, they decide to head out, and they're trying to catch up to Deidara and Sasori, and on the way there they notice a fight broke out, and this is what I kind of meant before. A fight broke out, and they're wondering what the hell happened. They see slash marks on the tree, the little areas where explosions would happen, and broken pieces of puppets. Everybody's like, okay, that doesn't seem too good. Well, does it seem bad? But they notice a distinct lack of sand, so they know this couldn't have been Gaara waking up to fight back against his captors, so it had to be someone else. Let's change perspective. We follow a lone samurai walking along the path, trying to head to Konoha. On the way, he decided that maybe he'd take a little walk to the land of sand, just, as a little, precursor before he headed to Konoha. As he gets there, though, he notices that the village is kind of in shambles, everyone's still panicking. So, he walks up to the gate, they're like, halt, who are you, And, they're suspicious because this guy's wearing, the same kind of hat the Akatsuki were originally wearing, that straw hat, but not, Luffy straw hat, but, those wandering samurai straw hat. Naruto, because obviously I'm guessing you guessed who this was, he has his hand on the hilt of his sword, but not like he's grabbing it, more like he's just resting his hand on it. And, he basically tells them that he's just a wandering samurai, and he's looking for the Kazekage because it's an old friend of his. they're skeptical, but they decide, like, what does it hurt to fucking tell this guy that he's been kidnapped? So, you know, they tell him the Kase Kage has kind of been kidnapped. So, you know, Naruto, of course, like, shit, which way? They're like, he was kidnapped by 2 S-rank missing men. You're not gonna beat them. You know, Naruto's like, I beg to differ. Now, which way? So obviously they're like, alright, if you want to die, go ahead. You know, they point the way for Naruto. He's like, that one, that way. So after that, Naruto waves to them and gives them, you know, a goodbye. After that, he heads out. So once he heads out to the land of, well, not the land of anywhere, but he just heads out to, my brain crashed. Oh yeah, okay, so he heads out, you know, going faster than Deidara or Sasori were going, you know, even though Deidara's kind of flying on a fucking bird. You know, he was quickly making way to catch up. About 10 minutes after him, like when everybody kind of calmed down, arrived the, well, not 10 minutes, but probably a little bit more than that. 30 minutes later, that same team of Konoha arrived. While they were arriving, Naruto had caught up to the two. You know, he basically was on a tree ahead of them because he went around. You know, as Sasori, or not Sasori, as Deidara is kind of flying overhead, he jumps up and pulls out his sword and then, you know, does a moon slash up. So this crescent moon goes flying around up towards the bird, cutting it in half. Since Deidara didn't really want it to explode on him or his teammate or the unconscious Jinchuriki because they need him alive, it just gets cut in half. Obviously, you know, they land on their feet. Sasori has Gaara wrapped around his tail. You know, basically, Sasori, he's like, what do you want? And Naruto's just like, well, I know that guy, and he's a friend of mine, and I'd really rather you not kidnap him. Obviously, well, wait, was Sasori's teammate was always Deidara, right? Yeah, was Deidara then? Okay, yeah, I remember now. I had forgotten about that, why Toby was on his team. So yeah, Deidara's like, oh, this guy's pretty funny. But let's see how he likes my art. You know, he sends out a few, you know, clay birds. Naruto, he simply, you know, he had resheathed his sword, but he quickly had, like, pulled it out, then brought it back in, you know, anime style. Before the things even reached Naruto, they just blew up, like, halfway. So obviously, you know, Sasori's like, that was fucking fast. Like, shit, this guy's strong. You know, Deidara, he is confused, and then he's like, okay, I'm not risking this. So he immediately just starts shooting out a bunch of clay bombs and spiders and junk like that. Naruto decides it's for the best for him to dodge, so he jumps into the tree line and starts running around. You know, Sasori, he pulls out a few puppets and then he yells, oh, what happened? I thought a samurai fought with honor, you know. Instead he runs away to the trees. Right then, you know, Naruto jumps out of the tree line right behind Sasori. Sasori, you know, he's thinking to himself, I already knew this guy was there. So he goes to, like, stab him with his tail claw because he's still in that shell. Obviously, Naruto easily ducks under this and then cuts upwards, cutting off the tail from that shell, and then immediately goes for another slice at the shell. Before he can reach it though, a giant clay dragon comes at him from his left. Naruto, he narrowly dodges this, but yet Deidara, he makes it explode, which it singed Naruto's arm a little bit, but not enough to cause crazy damage. And even then, after it singed his arm a little bit, they noticed that it immediately healed, and that put them on alarm. because now this guy heals a bit too fast for their liking, because it wasn't just like a flesh wound, it was a pretty nasty burn. It was an averagely nasty burn, like second degree, or not second degree. I don't remember whether first degree is worse or better, but I'm just gonna say it's like lower than a second degree burn. So that's the worst. But after that, Naruto, he's looking up, and then he's like, alright, guess I can't hold it back as much. Basically Sasori, he's like, who the hell are you? And Naruto grabs his hat and throws it off, revealing himself, as they recognize him because they know his file. They haven't seen him for a while, so they're kind of assuming, but no one else really has that sort of marking on them. Naruto, he holds onto his sword, pulling it out again, pointing it out towards him. He's like, my name is Naruto Uzumaki. I am the samurai of Konoha. Deidara, he knows about Naruto, because, well, not really Naruto, but the title of that name, the samurai of Konoha, some call him the moon demon. He goes by many names. But yeah, Naruto, he's not like infamous, don't get me wrong, but he's pretty well respected. So, he's got a respectable bounty. Nothing crazy, but like an acceptable one. So after that, Deidara is like, alright, this guy's not that much of a threat. So, he flies towards Naruto onto, his giant clay bird to try to hit him with it. Naruto, instead of dodging like what Deidara expected him to do, he jumped up onto the bird with Deidara and went for a slice at Deidara. Deidara narrowly dodges this, but right as he does, he gets kneed in the gut, which, Naruto's like, did I just feel teeth? Deidara gets sent down, Naruto jumps down, he's like, what the fuck was that? Cause, Deidara's weird mouth chest thing, it's nasty. So, Deidara points his hands out, Naruto's like, I just realized how creepy that shit looks. Deidara decides to ignore that, and instead focuses on trying to blow Naruto to Kingdom Come, and that sounds nastier. Oh god, just blow Naruto up. So, he tries to shoot more explosives at Naruto. Obviously, Naruto's dodging and weaving all of this, slicing some, but leaving most of them just because he's not trying to catch explosions to the face. As that happened, Sasori sent out a few puppets. Naruto, instead of really focusing on them, he really treats them like they're nothing because they're too slow to try to hit him. So he's using them more as stepping stools to avoid certain attacks. Sasori's like, this guy's serious. And, right as, Deidara thinks that he's about to go, like Naruto's about to go for him, Naruto bounces off another puppet, and shoots towards Sasori. Sasori, he's surprised by this because he didn't expect it. Neither did Deidara, so Naruto easily cuts up the shell, but, the real Sasori comes out and he's much faster now, so, now Sasori's like, alright, we need to take care of this guy. So they both start attacking in unison. Sasori sends out a multitude of puppets, while Deidara sends out a bunch of explosive clay like animals and shit. Naruto, he takes in a deep breath, concentrating on his breathing, as he sent out a flurry of slashes in every single direction, basically destroying all of their puppets and attacks. Right after that, though, Naruto, a wave of iron sand started coming towards Naruto. Naruto jumped back constantly to try to dodge it, and he went back into the tree line. Now Sasori has brought out his his one Kazekage puppet that, uses iron sand. And, as he brought that out, Sasori's like, alright, I'm gonna take this guy fucking seriously. Datara also decides for the best to take this guy seriously, so he starts shooting out clay bombs in every sort of direction in order to try to weed out Naruto. Right as they exploded the last little area, they were like, where the hell did he go? Did he run off? But before they can really think about it, Datara gets a hand grabbing him from the ground and pulling him under. Datara is confused. He's like, I didn't know this guy had an earth affinity. He gets pulled down into the ground, and then Naruto hops out right from behind him and goes for a slash at Sasori. Sasori, obviously, he sends a spike of iron sand right through Naruto's chest, and then Naruto poofs into a clone. Sasori is confused, but right as he thinks about it, he turns around hearing something, and then he sees Naruto's blade coming and slicing his neck. Obviously, since Sasori isn't a real boy, he survives this, obviously, since he didn't get attacked in his heart. Naruto, at first, he's confused by this, but then he can see the amount of chakra coming from that scroll in Sasori's chest, and he assumes that must be where his weakness is. So after that, Datara, he basically gets out of the earth and, starts sending explosions at Naruto. Naruto dodges this, and then he sends out a slash towards Datara's arm. And, Datara, he tries to dodge this, but sadly, he wasn't quite quick enough. So this cut him from around his upper elbow, like halfway through his bicep. Datara, he grits his teeth in pain, knowing that, like, this fucking sucks. He just lost an arm. But, he sends out a multitude of explosions towards Naruto, and, they hit because Naruto was still pretty close. And, it sends Naruto back. After that, Datara hops back on his clay bird, and tells Sasori to hop on as well, so that they can get the fuck out of here real quick, because they have to focus on Gaara. Because if Gaara wakes up, then it's gonna be a whole new issue. So as they head off, Naruto chases, and that's the scene that they had walked on into. The team decides they need to follow, where the hell, like, they sense chakra, which they can sense the chakra had, like, gone a certain way, so they started heading that way. Kakashi basically told Team Guy to just, like, survey the left area, or, well, actually, they told Neji to take front, just because Neji has to be Akugan, so he could probably see further. So, Neji does tell them that he sees people, but they're going way too fast for Neji. So, for their whole team to go, so Guy decides that him and Lee are gonna take charge and head there faster, which, Neji points out the direction, and then Guy and Lee both burst off in speed to try to catch up. As Datara and Sasori thought they got away, and, Datara's trying to take care of his wound, again, they hear something behind them. As they turn around, they see Naruto standing on the bird as well. Datara decides, fuck it, I'm gonna blow this bitch up. So he tries to blow it up, and then, but like before he can bring the hand sign up to blow it up, Naruto sends a slash at his arm. Datara has to jump back in order to dodge this. So he's on the head of the bird now, but Naruto chases him just to make sure he doesn't blow up the fucking bird that they're all standing on. Datara decides it's best to get the fuck out of there, and he jumps off. Sasori, he was already ahead of him. He jumped off as well. Naruto, seeing his opportunity, he turns his blade to like where it would be pointing backwards if he held it, and then he pulled his arm back and he fucking chucked that bitch. Sasori, he's confused. So is Datara. So Datara, he summons another bird to dodge, but he realizes he wasn't the intended target. It was Sasori. And right as that happened, what's it called? Sasori, he realized that he was the target, but it was a little bit late. So the scroll in his chest had a minor cut in it, which basically cut Sasori from the fight. He was like out of commission. He couldn't fight after that. Deidara, he's like, shit. He's like, well, at least the guy's away from the sword. He landed. He looked over at the sword, and then he looked back to where he thought Naruto would be, and Naruto is not there. And he's like, fuck. So he tries to run over to Gaara to try to get him, but right as that happened, basically Naruto practically appears next to him, and then gives him a mean right hook to the chin. Deidara gets sent spinning back and slams into a tree. Deidara, he's like, fuck, that shit hurts, damn it. So as, he's standing there, Naruto walks over, he picks up his sword. Deidara, he feels hurt as shit. So he knows, okay, I don't think I'm killing this guy, or I don't think I'm winning against this guy, just because he's already probably broken a few bones on the way there, and he's missing an arm. Even though he could probably make a few clay explosions, he realizes it's not gonna be fucking worth it. So he decides, best option, blow himself the fuck up, make the greatest piece of art ever seen. So Naruto's about to walk over towards him while he has a sword in his hand, when he senses the immense amount of ki, or not ki, what the fuck am I saying ki for? He senses an immense amount of fucking chakra that Deidara is building up, and he knows something's about to happen. He doesn't know what, but he decided it's for the best for him to not stick around. So he rushes back over, grabs Gaara, and starts fucking bolting it. Guy and Lee, would they sense that coming? They're still a bit behind. So, Neji basically tells Kakashi and Karin that, and Tenten, I almost forgot her, main character, Tenten, has the most screen time. How the fuck did I forget her? But, basically, he tells Karin and Tenten that there's a huge amount of chakra building up, and he doesn't know what's about to happen. So, Karin, she's a sensor, and she's sort of a sensor. She can sense emotion, but she's a sensor. So she also feels this chakra coming, and she's like, shit, we've got to go back. Tenten's like, what about Lee and Guy? What's it called? Karin's like, well, are you going to be able to catch up to them? Kakashi's like, maybe I could, Karin's like, you're not catching up to them, especially in the speed that they were going. But, as they're thinking that someone, as they're thinking that, Kakashi looks up because he senses something coming, and then he catches my guy. He's like, what the fuck? Basically, after that, Neji has to catch Lee. They're both awake, but they're like, what the fuck just happened? How did we get here? After that, they look over and they see Naruto. He's like, you guys should probably fucking start running. And they're like, what? He's like, that guy's gonna blow himself the fuck up. They start running, they're trying to get away. And, after, they run for fucking long enough, they decide, alright, well, after they run long enough, they hope that they fucking got away. Deidara's like, this will be the most exquisite piece of art that I've ever made. Kabuya. He blew the fuck up. So, they didn't really get the information on Orochimaru, just because Sasori was in the blast zone. So yeah, they don't get to see Orochimaru. That fucking sucks, I guess. So what else happened other than them meeting Orochimaru? I need to think about it. Meeting Orochimaru led to a lot of things. The first one, yeah. I'm gonna say as Naruto was grabbing Gaara, he said, fuck it, and grabbed the scroll that had Sasori's soul in it. And then he got the fuck out. Because, you know, information. So after that, they head out, they go back to the sand. They did get blasted the fuck back, so they're all pretty much hurt. But Karin let them bite them, or well, let them bite her after she did the best of her ability to heal them. But you know, the whole biting her thing probably also got stronger, so I'm gonna say they still did that. So after, you know, they got done with doing that, Karin, you know, they get back to sand. Karin's like, I hate it when people bite me. Fucking awful. You know, she looks over and she sees Naruto and she's like, well, what do you have to say for yourself? Naruto's a bit confused, like, what? You know, after that she starts yelling at him about how he left Jiraiya and then went missing, you know, how he could have been killed, or pronounced a missing nin, or all this stuff. And, you know, Naruto, you know, he's constantly apologizing and saying sorry just because, you know, he didn't really think about that, just because, like, he didn't expect Tsunade to pronounce him a missing ninja. So, you know, after about half an hour of getting chewed out, God, everything sounds nasty. But after about half an hour of just getting yelled at, you know, Karin chills the fuck out. You know, after that, she gets a good look at Naruto, and then she's like, shit, he has grown. Because, like I said before, Naruto is around almost Jiraiya's height, so he's peaking a little bit over Kakashi, but he's still shorter than Jiraiya significantly, so just because, like, Jiraiya's like the tallest nigga around. I don't get it either. Why is Jiraiya so fucking tall? But so, you know, they also notice that Naruto's eyes kind of look like the eyes that are on his sword. And, you know, they ask him about that. You know, he's like, yeah, I've sort of become more in tune with my blade, which also got me more in tune with my demonic sort of blood. He doesn't really say demonic blood, but he's like, got me more in tune with my sword. But you know, he thinks about that. Which, I'm gonna say that the training he had with Jiraiya about the Kyuubi, the more he was exposed to the Kyuubi, what the fuck is the Kyuubi? The Kyuubi, he was more exposed to the Kyuubi's chakra. He was also slowly increasing his demonic sort of features. So, you know, he definitely looks a bit more buff. He has sharper teeth. He still has the whisker marks. They're a little bit more pronounced, but he still has them. And, you know, he's pretty fucking buff. Like, you know, Naruto's wearing the same thing Kokushibo usually wears. So he's got the purple, like, sort of kimono thing going. But he has, like, an open area around his chest, so he's showing off all them muscles. Which, you know, not many women in the Sand Village are complaining too much, other than the fact when they get glared at a certain hot-headed redhead. So, you know, Gaara wakes up, they talk to Gaara, Gaara explains what happened, Naruto explains how he saved Gaara's ass. You know, Gaara's like, alright, you saved my ass this time, but next time, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna win our next one. I'm gonna probably defeat more Katsuki members than you. You know, I had to defend a village. You didn't really have to worry about anything, so like it's not really the same. You know, Naruto, you know, he looks at him, he's like, what you trying to say? You trying to say you stronger than me or something? He's like, well, I'm a cage. You're like, what, a chunin? You know, Naruto, he's like, oh, okay, I see, okay. Alright, I see how it is. became a cage, got a big head, all that, you know. They laugh after that, which few people think, were they always that fucking close? So Kankuro, you know, he looks over at Naruto, he's like, so, did you get anything off Sasori? And then Naruto's like, well, I got this, you know, he hands Kankuro the little scroll, and, you know, Kankuro's like, the fuck is this? He's like, it's Sasori. You know, Kankuro's like, holy shit, you know, he almost drops it, but, you know, the old granny, she catches it, and, you know, she looks at it for a little bit, because, you know, isn't it her grandson or some shit? I think it's her grandson. I think Sasori's her grandson, but, you know, she's looking at it for a little bit, you know, sad and stuff. So after that, she attaches it to a puppet, but it's not the conventional puppet. It's completely fucking harmless. It's like Pinocchio. It's a Pinocchio puppet. Just fuck him. Why not? You know, Sasori, you know, he wakes up, he's like, well, he doesn't really breathe hard because he doesn't need to breathe, but, you know, he wakes up, he opens his one eyes, and he looks around, he's like, where the hell am I? You know, he gets up off the bed and notices that he's not restrained at all. But he also notices he's short, really short. You know, he looks around, and then he looks at his feet, and he realizes they're sort of like these Mickey Mouse cartoonish looking shoes. And they're like, what the hell? You know, he walks over to a mirror, and he looks over, and he sees the one thing he dreads. He's Pinocchio. You know, Sasori, he screams like a little girl. He's like, ah! You know, after that, everyone realized Sasori probably woke the fuck up. So, you know, Granny Chio, that's her fucking name. I fucking knew it was on the tip of my tongue. Granny Chio, she walks in, you know, she's smiling an evil smile. She's like, ah, seems you've awoken, Sasori. I had to repair your heart. And, you know, Sasori's like, what the hell is going on? Why am I like this? What did you do? You know, basically Chio, she laughs. She's like, well, since you're not a real boy, obviously you just want it to be a toy. So, yeah. You're Pinocchio. You know, Sasori, he looks up at her horrified. He's like, why would you do this to me? What did I ever do? You know, she's like, where do we start? Oh, you took a cage's body as a puppet. He's like, that wasn't like this level of evil. And then she's like, you also became a nuke nin, which is like a rogue ninja. You killed a lot of our people. You abandoned the village, and, you know, all around you were an asshole. Sasori's like, you are a cruel woman, you know that? You're a cruel woman. You know, Granny Chio, she smiles, and she's just like, I know, and I love it. After that, you know, they start questioning Sasori, and he realized that every time he lies, his nose grows, and he hates it. You know, they're like, do you know where the Katsuki's base is? You know, he says no, his nose doesn't grow, because they have, well, his nose does grow, because he does know where a Akatsuki base is. He doesn't know where the Akatsuki base is. So, you know, they're like, okay. Do you have the two tails? You know, he's like, no. And, you know, his nose grows because they caught the two tails. Fuck. So basically they ask him a bunch of yes or no questions at first, And then there's like anything, you know, you want to tell us. Maybe we could get you a normal body and then you could be a normal prisoner. Or even, if you possibly consider helping out the village, we might even consider making you a ninja. Maybe, probably not, but if you work for it, you might. So, you know, they're like, because right now, if you really think about it, other than Gaara and Tamari, because she's the strongest wind user, other than when Naruto got the Rasen Shuriken, apparently, I don't know about that one, but, you know, she was like, the sand is kind of weak right now, and we really, really could use some strong ninja. And you're a master puppeteer, so you could either help us and then not have your name dragged through the mud, or you could just be stuck like this, because we won't kill you. We're just gonna let you live like this forever. You know, so that's what he thinks about it. He decides the best course of action for him is to become a good guy. So he is like, alright, fine. You know, he looks over to the Leaf Ninja and he's like, listen, there's going to be a meeting between Orochimaru, or well, between one of my spies that works under Orochimaru and me in a few days. Or not in a few days, like in a few weeks. Here's the scroll to the location, you know, he grabs the scroll, writes down a little bit of something, and hands it over to them. They look at it, read through it. You know, Kakashi looks at it, read through it, and he's like, appreciate you. He waves off, you know. Naruto's like, I'll kick your ass next time, Gaara. You know, Gaara's like, we'll see about that. So after that, they head out, and you know, they head back to Konoha. Do I have to? Man, I've been gone so long. Let me keep going for y'all. Y'all deserve it, low key. So you know, they're heading back to Konoha. You know, Tamari, and Lee, Neji, and Lee, Neji, and Naruto. Also Kakashi. They're like, you know, they're in a little group right now. They're catching up. Meanwhile, Tenten is talking with Karin. You know, Tenten's like, so, you two a thing. You know, Tenten, or you know, not Tenten. Karin's like, what? That is preposterous, slanderous, unthinkable, even. You know, Tenten's like, so it's that. Okay. You know, Karin's like, what do you mean by that? You know, Tenten's like, you're going through that kind of situation. I see. You know, you both feel that, and you know, he's too much of an idiot, I'm guessing. You don't really know if you can accept that yet. You know, Karin, she's like, you don't know what you're talking about. You know, she's like, what about you? How is things going between you and Neji? You know, she's like, well, for your information, we've been going out for a while now. You know, Karin's like, huh? What? When did this happen? You know, Tenten's like, oh, you know, over time, after Neji stopped having a stick up his ass, he, you know, paid more attention to stuff. He was a lot nicer. You know, we talked for a bit. You know, we're testing the waters right now. So, Karin's like, okay. Shit. You know, Guy, since he's with the boys right now, he walks up and he's like, the fruits of youth. It's such a beautiful thing. You know, Tenten and Karin both hit him over his head. You know, So, you know, Lee runs over, he's like, Guy Sensei! You know, he's like, Lee, Guy Sensei! Lee, Guy Sensei! You know, Naruto's like, shut up! It's over! Stop! Stop! I left for 3 years, I finally forgot what happened. Please, just let it, stop it. So, you know, they stop, finally, through Naruto's request, and then they head off towards Konoha. Meanwhile, with the Akatsuki, you know, basically, they're having a meeting right now, and they're discussing how Sasori has been captured and Deidara has died. Pain isn't happy with this. He talks to Kakashi and Kisame and tells them that it was the Kyuubi Jinchuriki who ended up catching them while they were taking Gaara back, and they got beat by him. You know, it is troubling that Naruto beat 2 Akatsuki members at the same fucking time, so they realize that Naruto is going to be a fucking threat. So they're thinking how they should do it, if they should go after the other ones first, or if they should take care of Naruto first. You know, as that's happening, they also introduced, you know, a new member. And, you know, his name's Toby. Toby, at the current moment, doesn't have a teammate. If they find Sasori, and he hasn't told them too much or told them anything about the Akatsuki, then he could come back and be Toby's teammate. But for now, they're not really sure about it. So, you know, Toby's just gonna be on standby. You know, so as they're talking about this and that, the meeting finally comes to the end, and then, you know, Pain looks over as everyone's left, and it's just him, Konan, and Toby. You know, Toby's voice goes from the high-pitched, happy-go-lucky to a very deep and sinister voice. And, you know, he looks over at Nagato, as he calls him. Or not Nagato, Pain. He calls him Pain. Yeah, he probably calls him Pain. You know, he looks over at Pain, as his nickname is said, and asks him, you know, Pain asks him whether he thinks it would be a better idea to go after the Kyuubi Jinchuriki now or wait. You know, Toby, he thinks about it for a little bit. He's like, well, if we go after him now, we'd have to hold him in a cell until we captured the other Biju, which we have a substantial piece of the One-Tailed Tanuki, so we will be able to go without it, since we got the piece off of it, you know, the fight area. Though it isn't much, so we may have to still capture him. We already have gotten the 2 tails and many more. So, you know, they're like, we should probably first capture a few of the other Jinchuriki before we go after Naruto. Though, if we do perceive that he's becoming stronger quickly, or that he's mastering any portion of the Kyuubi's chakra, we should immediately make him priority. Because, why? We wouldn't want a mastered Kyuubi Jinchuriki on the enemy side. So, you know, Pain agrees with this. Konan says nothing, since she's pretty much quiet unless Pain says something. And, you know, after that, they both disappear, and it's just Toby standing there, and then he slowly disappears afterwards. And then back to Konoha. Alright, so they enter Konoha, you know, the guards welcome them, and then they look over at Naruto, and they're like, holy shit, Naruto? You know, Naruto, you know, he nods over to them. They really recognize him because of his hair, and because of, you know, the whisker marks. So, you know, they're like, shit, Naruto, you look great, man. You know, Naruto's like, appreciate you. Because the guards were always pretty fucking nice to Naruto. So, instead of visiting Tsunade like the person Naruto should be, Naruto decides that his best course of action would be going to Ichiraku and eating to his heart's content. And though Karin is very responsible, she is a Uzumaki at heart, and the ramen addiction wins overall. So after, they go over to Ichiraku and eat up a storm, Naruto pays for both of them, surprisingly, because Karin did not expect Naruto to have rats, alright? Afterwards, Naruto and her head over to the Hokage office. Tsunade is still, doing paperwork, and Sarutobi's, also sitting on the couch, but this time he's reading a certain book by a certain man, and, Jiraiya's also there on the same couch, but he's instead writing. So, Naruto walks and he's like, "Hey, Granny." The Lord Hokage, she looks up and she's like, "Naruto, you've returned." She gets up and then she realizes Naruto is fucking tall as shit. I was gonna say another word, but then that would sound wrong. So, she's like, "Naruto's tall as shit." Jiraiya gets up and he's like, "Holy shit, you're tall." Naruto's like, "Oh, hey, pervert sage." And Jiraiya's like, "You little shit." The old man Hiruzen, he gets up, he's like, "Hey, Gramps." He says hi. Hiruzen's pretty old at this point. I mean, it's only been 3 years, but he was already old, so, he's pretty fucking old now. So, he's like, "Hello, Naruto," all this stuff, talking to him, shit. Yeah. So, after that, Hiruzen looks better than usual, just because he's not stressed out by paperwork. Otherwise, Tsunade looks fucking awful, Naruto looks over at Tsunade, he's like, "Should I tell her?" Basically, Jiraiya perks up at this, "Tell her what?" She's like, he goes over, he whispers something, he's like, Jiraiya's like, oh my god, I never fucking thought of that. How did I not think of that? He's like, so, he immediately, he's like, "Well, I think you should tell her." And Naruto, he looks up at Tsunade, and Tsunade's confused. He's like, "Why don't you use, shadow clones?" Hiruzen, he immediately puts a stop to that. He's like, "Well, shadow clones don't work." And then, Naruto looks over and he's like, "Huh?" Like, "Well, shadow clones, they assist you, yes, but your memory doesn't update with the shadow clones. They have to blow up first. And a lot of the papers are mishmashed and don't match, and there's no certain assigning to them, so one paper may be involved with another. So if you use shadow clones and one shadow clone finds one paper, and then it's a whole mess that requires way more paperwork." Naruto, he's stunned. He's like, "What? That was my plan." Oh, that was my only plan. So, Hiruzen's like, "Yep, that's why no Hokage has ever used shadow clones." Tobirama Sensei said that he would think of a jutsu for that sort of, in order to avoid paperwork, though he died before he could figure it out. That's how he created the shadow clones, It's like, what? You're like, yeah. Shadow clones, it was supposed to be a way for him to finish the paperwork, but sadly, it never quite worked out that way. He never was able to update. Naruto's like, damn. He looks over at Sarutobi, he's like, "Aren't you the professor?" He's like, "Aren't you the master of all jutsu? You're saying you can't come up with the jutsu that does that? A bunshin that actively tells memories?" He's like, Sarutobi's like, "You think I had the time to do that in my prime when I was turned into Hokage? I didn't have enough time to make that many fucking I used my shadow clone to find out jutsu. And then, you know, he's like, then why couldn't she just fucking, you know, they're arguing about this, and Karin's just like, here they fucking go. You know, after that, Naruto basically decides, well, we're gonna get going. You know, Sarutobi, he's like, alright, well, have fun then. You know, they go off, and then Naruto remembers, and, you know, he looks over at Karin, and he's like, do you still live in that apartment? And, you know, Karin, she's like, well, yeah, we never really moved out. I don't remember if they moved into the Namikaze compound. I do remember that Hiruzen was supposed to tell Naruto when he became a Chunin about his parents, but I don't remember if they moved out of the apartment. So I'm gonna say they didn't, just for plot standards. You know, Naruto's like, don't you think the apartment's a bit too small for 2 people? You know, she's like, I mean, I never had an issue with it before. You know, Naruto's like, well, it's like the sleeping arrangements, you know? You know, Karin thinks about it. She's like, oh, yeah. Oh. You know, they're thinking about this, like, okay, so what do we do now? You know, they decide, well, how about we find a better apartment and we move there? You know, Naruto's like, we could even find 2 bedrooms. She's like, well, I mean, if we can't find somewhere with 2 bedrooms, we can still stick with 1 bedroom. But I do think a bigger apartment would be better, you know. But like, as you're thinking this, you know, Jiraiya walks out. You know, he hands Naruto some keys. You know, Naruto's like, what the fuck is this? He's like, well, it's the key to the Namikaze compound and Uzumaki compound, kind of. It was a Uzumaki Namikaze compound because it was just her at the time. So they're like, they have a whole fucking compound? It's like, it's not really a compound more than it is like a house. It was sort of really messed up during the Kyuubi attack. Because, you know, Naruto had, well, because he had to teleport the Kyuubi onto his fucking house at the time. Jiraiya did have it rebuilt over the 3 years, we're gonna say. So, you know, Jiraiya had it rebuilt. Naruto's like, fucking great, okay, yeah, for sure. So Karin's like, that's for sure gonna have more than 1 bedroom. No, so after that, they all head out. They go over to the Namikaze Uzumaki compound. They move their shit with ceiling scrolls, of course. And yeah. Would fight after. Okay, yeah. Alright. So, Kakashi tells Sakura, because, you know, Sakura used to be a student. Well, Sakura still is a student, technically. He tells Sakura about how they found out about a secret meeting between Orochimaru, one of Orochimaru's assistants, and a spy for Orochimaru, and how they're probably gonna find out the location of Sasuke, and if they do, then they might head straight there. So she wants to join, just cause, like, as useless as she may be, she's still a part of the team, sadly. So, you know, as much as one might not want to consider inviting her, they have to, in a way. Well, at least Kakashi, you know, because teamwork makes the dream work and all. So, afterwards, Kakashi is like, alright, so do you want to come with? And, you know, Sakura, being Sakura, she's immediately like, yes, of course I want to come. Yeah, of course. Yeah, sure, definitely. So, you know, Kakashi is a bit worried that her intentions aren't fully just to capture Sasuke as a missing ninja. And if you're wondering how Naruto's viewpoint is, since he was in the land of iron and sort of has adopted a samurai way of thinking, he realizes that, like, as much as Sasuke may be his friend, he's also a threat to the village, because he is, like, he's basically pulled an Uchiha and become an Itachi and become a missing nin. And as him being like the only one of his clan, it would be awful for Naruto. Well, not Naruto, but it would be awful for the village if Sasuke's bloodline fell into the hands of another village. While they know that Itachi is also a missing ninja, Itachi has been a missing ninja for a while now and has never really shown interest in joining another village. And they haven't heard many Itachi Juniors walking around, so they don't know yet. You know. So obviously after this, they decide, alright, well, if you're gonna come with, then hopefully you'll do your best to be useful to the team. And yeah, let's go. This will be about an hour, right? Yeah, this will be about an hour. So I'm gonna pause, I'm gonna end the recording here, but I'm not gonna post this until I have the third part ready. So yes, I know you guys are going to be like, no, don't end it, please. You're going to go on a monthly hiatus after this. And you might be right. Who fucking knows? You could be right for all I know. But, I have no buts. I hope you guys forgive me for my hiatus. I feel like it would be better if I thought out the part a bit more than just, you know, going in crazy like I was after about half of the fucking fight. So yeah, hope you guys have enjoyed this. I'm gonna try. I'm not even gonna fucking say I'm gonna try, because if I say that, then I'm not gonna be able to be consistent. But yeah, hopefully I'll be able to record tomorrow, though I do have to start focusing on schoolwork because my grades have become shit. Yeah, hopefully you guys have enjoyed. If you haven't, sorry. If you have, that's great. But peace out.